Hello everyone, and welcome to the Ubuntu Touch Q&A. This is the UBports Foundation's fortnightly talk show, where we discuss your questions and talk about what's been happening in the Ubuntu Touch project. You've tuned in to episode 25, streamed live on March 17th, 2018. My name is Dalton, and joining me this week is Marius.
Hello.
And that is it. We could not find anyone else right now. But that's okay. We know you're out there, Jan and Flo. We know you're out there.
We know you're out there. Just as Joe is in here.
And Joe is in here, but not in here. That was an inside joke. We shouldn't do that. We've got a great roundup of questions ready for today. So many from the forum, but we'll also take some from the live chats in YouTube and the supergroup as we go. But we'll start with our most important question. Marius, what have you been working on this week, these last 2 weeks, Fortnite?
No, I have not been playing Fortnite. No. I have been incredibly busy with Xenial. Xenial is now to a state where I use it as a daily driver. It's my only daily driver, and it's on a state where I can recommend people to start trying it out and using it as a daily driver.
As long
right
as you
now,
understand what the bugs are.
yes, as long as we understand how to get back to Vivid if you want to, and as long as you know the consequences that you can lose data, etc., etc., I would really recommend doing that just for the sake of testing it. The best thing, if you have two phones, that would be awesome if you could run Xenial on one of them, just to find the bugs and report bugs and test it thoroughly so we can get it through. And so this is basically a call for testers. My connection.
2 phones. The recommended way to use Ubuntu Touch.
2 phones to recommend. One Xenial and one Vivid. That's how we roll.
Can you tell which one is which? No, and that's the point.
I would say the one with less amount of apps is the Xenial one.
Oh. Yeah, you're right.
So that's what I've been doing. I've been just cranking out those bugs and squishing them. What have you been doing?
Getting beaten down. Figuratively, figuratively, not physically. But I haven't been working terribly much on Ubuntu Touch this week because life was getting in the way. Yay!
Yeah.
I did have some time to check out why phones like there it goes. Why they won't restore their time when they come back up, but didn't really get very far on that. I also picked up the Nexus 5 export for a grand total of 9 hours, and that got fed back up with it and put it back down. This phone is weird. Let's just go with that. Okay.
So a bit of context here is
oh, that's the Nexus 5X. Yeah.
Yeah, and trying to port Ubuntu Touch it, or Holium, let's say. So while we are on the topic of Xenial, let's just pick one of the first questions right off the bat, which I see here. Which phone do you recommend for 1604 for the best experience? I would say right now it doesn't really matter since Xenial seems to work great on all the phones. If I would recommend one, it's between the OnePlus and the Profile, purely because they have more power, more oomph. But that's not it's not a Xenial specific thing. That's just in general, because they have more power and more power to drive stuff. But in general, I would say any phones do work pretty nicely on 1604.
Yep, I can attest that the Fairphone 2 is in the same state as pretty much every other phone. The spinner works now.
Rotation.
I don't remember when that got fixed, but good job.
Yeah, thank you.
What else does this thing do? It is a phone, that is for sure.
Yeah, so the status of it is that everything hardware-wise works except location at this moment. Location is the one that still is a bit iffy. It seems to work on some devices, but not all of them. So don't get lost with your Xenial device. You can find your way back with GPS. So if you definitely need GPS, don't try it out. But if you are like me, which mostly are home, it's fine. I don't need GPS. But
Accidentally makes things really sad.
yeah, kinda. But also I don't use GPS often anyway. So but that should be fixed pretty quickly. Uh, I hopefully will get it fixed this weekend or at least next week. I know the issue and just need time to fix it. I've been focusing on so many other issues. Else than that, there's no much else to say else than many of the apps do need recompiling to be able to work correctly on Xenial. So many of the apps in the App Store will be a bit buggy because they, as I said, they need recompiling. But that's not something we can do. That's up to the app developers to update their app
And then
to build.
we're also talking a bit with the open store itself, the team, to figure out how we're going to support both 1504 for a short time and 1604.
Yeah,
Since Marius was telling me before, if an app updates to use the new 1604 framework that we made, it won't show up on 1504 devices anymore, which
yeah.
probably
So
isn't
that's
what people want.
no, unless well, it would be fine when Xenial is released as a stable release. But the transition period, it would be nice to have a fallback option. Um,
Yeah.
at least we want to be able to come to a state when you upgrade to stable and when 1604 is stable, that the apps are also working and in a correct order for build for that specific device. We will probably remove the Vivid framework later on, so we don't have that problem where you can be able where you can download a 1504 app and it will be kind of broken. If it is a C++ app, if it's a QML app, it works just fine. If it's a C++ app, it might have some problems, like pretty much all of the
So
bigger
very
apps.
outdated apps might not stay in the store, depending on how many problems they make.
Yeah.
But that's something for the open store team to decide mostly, since they want to make decisions like that themselves.
But if it's an open source application, it's also really simple to recompile it with clickable
Mm.
dash K 1604, and you can rebuild it pretty fast.
I won't say
Fa-
anything.
Fastly, that's a new word.
Quickly.
That's quickly. Simon
Quickly.
quickly. Okay.
I'm not even going to respond to that.
Okay.
I think that
Question.
we can roll right, since we're in the middle of this question already.
Mhm.
A few people on the forum kind of asked, where are we right now in in the 1604 cycle, which I know that's 4 Ubuntu cycles ago, but and where are we going? So right now we
Where
have
are you right? Oh, go ahead.
right now we have 2 milestones on GitHub that really um, mark where we are in terms of being to 1604. So we have milestone 7, which is the 1604 backlog. That's everything that regressed when we installed all of our packages on 1604. So everything that was working before, but it's broken now. That's everything that we have to do in order to release 1604. And then milestone 8 is our OTA 4 milestone. That's the things that we want to do before we release 1604. Some of them definitely could get pushed if we want to hit a release date earlier. We'll just have to see. Especially the Halium one, I'm not thinking that one's going to be finished before the release of the OTA.
Yeah, I do expect many of the things that are in here in the OTA 4 milestone, new things. It's not it's a good probability that that will be moved to the next OTAs, since we want the OTA to be a more a milder, I won't say it milder, but milder than, instead of introducing more bugs on top of the already existing huge step we take from Vivid to Senial, instead of bringing in new stuff that potentially can have bugs in them, it might be better to release OTA 4 in a more pure 1604 update instead of bringing in new stuff.
Right. And then there'll probably be issues with like migrating and things like that that you can expect. We're going to try to fix all of those before we get there. As we get closer to release, we'll have test upgrades and everything. But we'll still probably recommend people back up their phone before they upgrade, as you should anyway. And just try and get those worked out as we move into OTA 5.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Everyone teases me. I always say that at the end of a sentence, but
okay, so I will take one other. What's the difference between core and legacy device? It's not called legacy device anymore. It's a community device. It's an easier name than legacy device.
No, I don't think that's how that moved. We just moved everything legacy into core because we don't have legacy devices anymore.
Okay, you mean that? Yeah, that makes sense. If you okay, so yeah, what we did, we made core devices into one, both the core and legacy devices into one, and we made a new one called core community devices. Yeah, that's true.
So core devices are all the devices that we are officially supporting. So that includes the Fairphone 2. Actually, that includes every device that's ever run Ubuntu Touch except for the Moto G Titan, because the Moto G Titan is only community, and that means that it's a build that's created and pushed by a community member. Hi, how you doing? I see you in the live chat. And that will be updated independently of the other devices. So you won't always know that you're getting the same exact software as the core channel, but it will likely be close, depending on the developer.
Yeah, and once it's not once, but probably when it gets a more stable release and the port comes along, and for example, let's say my OnePlus 3 ports comes along and it's starting to get usable as a daily driver, we might also pull that into a core device. Oh, that's Zoom though.
Sorry, I had to turn down my quality. People say that I'm dropping out.
Oh, you just zoomed in like crazy. Okay, that's good. So where was I? What once we can pull them in as a core device, and also of course the maintainer will still maintain it, but then we also can assist more development power into that device and making that device a really good device. And also the benefit of having a core device is that those will usually follow our those a core device will follow our release schedules, and it will follow our OTAs. It will follow us our daily build, but a legacy device doesn't necessarily will follow our releases and daily builds or stuff like that. So that's the benefit of having a core device. And a core device is also guaranteed to work, while a legacy device is not.
Replace every place that he said legacy with community in that sentence.
Okay, community device. Sorry. It gets confusing.
I did see Walid in the chat earlier. He has a question that we'll get to in a little bit. And then we do have one more distinction on the UBports website. What is the difference between ready-to-use and in-progress devices? So, the ready-to-use devices are the ones that are a little bit more available. That's the Nexus 5, the OnePlus One, the Fairphone 2, and the M10 tablets. They're just a little bit easier to find. Actually, in the case of the M10, it's because it's our only tablet. But all three, the Fairphone 2, Nexus 5, OnePlus One, are rather easy to get. The Fairphone 2 is still for sale new. The Nexus 5 and OnePlus One can be found used pretty easily. Did I miss anything there?
Nope.
Excellent. Because everyone's commenting on it now. Okay.
Okay, I will take the next question. I will jump a little bit here. I will jump over the hole-in-one.
Okay.
And I will go into Unbox. Unbox, how, why, when, Unbox. Okay, so Unbox is still in progress. And Unbox is will not come before OT84. We need a stable thing to run Unbox on, and we don't have that yet. So Unbox will still be a an installable thing that you can develop an image that you can install. Not image, but installable package from Unbox. Unbox still have some Qualcomm issues, or Qualcomm has some issues with. Oh man, English is just not in me today. English, what? Okay, I will
So
try
our
again.
problem running.
Okay.
Now you've got me doing.
Yeah, take it away, Dalton. Take it away.
Qualcomm devices have trouble running Unbox. That's it. I did it.
Yeah. Okay, so it's functional on currently just 2 devices. That's due to this Qualcomm issue, because our other devices that can run it are only Qualcomm-based devices. The Fairphone, the OnePlus One, and the Nexus 5 are all Qualcomm devices. I haven't had the time to look into to Unbox yet. So if someone wants to help out with Unbox, that would be awesome. Uh, there is instruction on how to build it in our GitHub repository, and you can use the scripts to install it. And if
Oh,
you
that's
want to
handy.
try it out, yep.
What's up next?
Okay,
I kind of want.
this is going splendid today.
I kind of want to. So that kind of answers Walid's question as well. You've got me doing it. English is hard.
Yeah, it
And
is.
he was kind of asking, how do we support Unbox on a community device? Well, you try out those instructions.
But there's a but there. You need kernel patches, or not patches. You need to add the binder driver, the Unbox binder driver. I have the newest one, where I have separated out the binder from the Android binder, where it's into its own binder, so to not mess with the already existing Android binder. This fixed some issues on the profile, for example, where you couldn't use. Okay, go, Dalton.
Oh, there were
uh,
so many instances of binder in that sentence.
yeah,
So the
I
binder being an inter-process communication on Android. It caused some issues when Andbox applications on Ubuntu Touch would try to use it because they'd start interfering with the container and no one worked together. So Marius has taken the binder out of the kernel and made a new one that runs in user
No,
space. No,
no, no. I
I
didn't take it
misunderstood you.
out. I didn't take it out of the kernel. I made it into an own driver. Instead of being the same driver, I put it onto its own driver and its own device name and everything. It still be a kernel device, but you can mount it as a module, a kernel module. So you don't necessarily need to replace the kernel to be able to install it, which is a good thing. But be aware you need this. And since every Android device is different and any kernel is different, you also need this binder to work with your drivers. So if you want to try it out, you also need to add this binder. This binder you can find, the easiest is just to extract it from one of the other devices. I would recommend taking it from the OnePlus One, since that's the easiest one.
Wow.
Yep.
Do you have an example of that we can link to?
Example.
Yeah, like in the Pro
Uh,
5 kernel or something?
yep, I can find it.
Okay.
Just take next question while I do that.
Oh, I can do that. So the next question is one that's gotten quite popular, especially after all the blog posts went out saying that you can install Unity 8 on 1804. The question is, why doesn't Unity 8 work on 1804?
Ooh.
Yeah, that. Um, so it's a bit of a problem with upstream mirrors goals changing a bit in the 1804 cycle. They removed a couple of drivers that we rely on, namely mirror on mirror support, which is a mirror server connecting to a mirror server through a mirror server. Yo, dog, I heard you like mirror. That's the largest problem we have because we have something called the Unity System Compositor, which handles like all of the scaling and things for Ubuntu Touch devices. So that's why things aren't really tiny out of the box all the time, which Unity 8 connects to. So that doesn't quite work anymore. But I think we have some ideas for how to replace it.
But also one of the biggest problems is that you can't run any Mir native apps, since a Mir native app needs to run on top of Mir. And that's the biggest problem. You technically can still run Unity 8 if you run as a standalone one, since it then is just Mir on Mir. But if you try to launch an application, it will break.
Then it's using
Uh,
mirror on mirror.
yeah, and this will be a challenge. It will definitely be a huge challenge to get this going. It will not be easy. It will require a lot of things to get going, and it will require us to start using Wayland more for a lot of things. Probably all applications have to be switched over to Wayland. Including every Qt application and everything. So that's just a bit of a bummer, since I did like Qt Mirror and the stuff that was there. But that's live. We have to use
Mirror
Wayland.
moves on.
Mir, Mir moves on and it becomes um, a non hated platform. I guess
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing that it now acquires.
Well, actually, that one segues quite well into our next question. What's the situation with Ubuntu Touch in 1804? Because everyone's so interested in why we're going to 1604 2 years after the cycle has ended. So that's one of the problems with 1804 is that this huge mirror change has come in, and no, it's not something on the mirror team or anything. It's just the server's goals changed, so we have to deal with that. So that's one of the changes in 1804, but 1604 is just so much closer to 1504 than 1804. Not just in numbers alone, but in all of the packages and things that were included in the main repository at the time. So people keep asking, why are you going to 1604 when 1804 is around the corner? Because we can, basically. Whereas
System D.
well, yeah, that I'm getting to that.
Okay.
Just because it's so much more work to go to 1804 right now that it's pretty much that would have us down probably until the 2004 release. And that's just too long. Another problem is the transition from Upstart to Systemd, which actually happened in 1604, but Upstart is still supported, and Upstart is the init system that we use in 1604. Because Systemd has a few changes, mostly to how it runs user sessions. I think they call them slices. I don't entirely understand Systemd. I'm sorry. Don't burn
Nobody
me or
does.
anything.
Nobody does. Nobody understands it.
It might require some kernel changes as well. We just need to investigate that. But with those kernel changes and possibly changes to Android, the Android container, it might reintroduce the concept of legacy devices, which we were just able to get rid of. So it might become the situation that we say, these devices are supported until 1604 is out of support. We're not going to bring any new features to them. We're working on 1804 now. But that's in the future, like a ways in the future yet. So it's not a huge problem at the moment. This is just to make the people who keep asking aware.
Yep.
And finally, we just really need to be off of 1504 like a year ago. It is completely unsupported. It's not getting updates. So we got to go fast.
Yeah, this is the biggest reason for this. I would say jump already. Well, most people say already, but I would say we are already too late. But it is the biggest thing that 1604 is still supported by Canonical, and it still gets security updates. It still gets security patches to all the different components. And on top of that, it's also a much more stable ARM thing. It runs a lot better on ARM. A lot of the ARM improvements has gone into to 1604. Even though many of them was backported to 1504, it's still a lot more ARM improvements in 1604. ARM is then the architecture that Ubuntu Touch runs on.
Yeah.
Or
CPU architecture.
Yeah.
Really boring stuff.
Yeah.
We've hit the bottom of the list. Oh, we do have a couple more for Halium. I wanted to jump to those, and I jumped this way, and I jumped the wrong way, and now I'm falling down the stairs. Help. Anyway. So we did have a couple of questions about Halium support in 1604, now that we've gone through that downer. Will OTA 4 be the first release with Halium compatibility? Kinda. Or, as the developer always says, it depends. So right now, as we're running, we already have sorta Halium support in 1604 with the current rootfs. However, there is one bug in particular that makes it not particularly useful for most porters, but most people won't need to worry about that unless they're porting. I think the bigger question is, when will a Halium device be a core device? The answer is probably after OTA 4. So things like the 1+3 port that Marius keeps hinting to.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, you said everything.
Nah, I not said anything. There's no Boganza going on. If you get that reference, I love you. If you get that reference, anyone.
So if you'd like to follow how Ubuntu Touch is getting along with Halium. That's mostly my project, and you can find it in Ubuntu Touch issue 404. I will send that link here
What a
and
great,
here. I
great number.
know, I love that number.
Yeah, too bad it isn't found though.
Yeah, I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
well,
I will take another one.
okay.
Uh, Marius needs some English tea. If only I had some. Okay, what's with the browser in 1604? It has a lot of issues. The browser in 1604 does have some issues because it was running on a newer version of Oxide. We now have downgraded that version of Oxide. So most of the issues are fixed, but there are still issues where have it's a weird one where we have now we it's still an issue that wasn't vivid, but it wasn't visible because we didn't install any fonts. But now when we have printer support, we have additional fonts installed, and the browser somehow thinks that that's the right font, and then it just mashes every characters together and says this is how it should look. Uh, so so it's not a specific issue that's for Senial. It's an issue that actually has been on Vivid, but we are working for we are working as hard as we can to get this fixed. It should not be a hard issue. I have seen there was some issues with HTTPS, but I haven't been able to recreate those as I've been using mine as a daily driver. I've been using the Pro 5 with Senial on it. Low battery, of course. But I haven't really noticed any issues in the browser at all. I watch YouTube videos. I watch pretty much everything just fine. Browse websites. So me personally can't find any issues except the one with the text, as I said. But
Mhm.
let's see. This is why we need more testers to test out and see, because I'm not, since I'm a developer and not as gullible for bugs. The bugs don't affect me that much.
Technician present syndrome.
Something like that. Yeah, it's bugs here and there. I unconsciously find my way around them.
Mm-hmm. I tried to post the link to issue 404 in the live chat 3 times. No, 2 times now. And it just goes to a GitHub 404 page. That wasn't on purpose, I swear. It just is not working. So it's in the Telegram chat. I'm sorry to everyone who's in live chat right now. I don't understand.
It perfect. YouTube knows. YouTube knows.
They know, apparently. Let me try this. Nope, nope, that. Oh, that worked. I don't understand how.
That's okay. So here's another question about the 1+3 port. Uh, how far? How far is the port? Hmm. It's getting there. Next question.
Another big one is how's the Nexus 5 export? Um, it's not getting there,
Okay. The reason
and
why we are so careful about saying things is it's because it's so incredibly hard to port, and to be honest, we don't know when stuff will be fixed and not fixed, because the porting pretty much works as you just try random things and see if it works, since a lot of things is closed sourced. Not a lot of things. A lot of the drivers are closed source, and that's why there's a lot of guessing involved. There's a lot of trial and errors, and there's a lot of testing different things and see if it works. And there's a lot of segfaults. But with that, it's all that combined is why it's so hard and why we always hesitate answering those questions and how far they are. Also, saying how far they are, it's also a hard question because um, if, for example, Wi-Fi is working on most devices, um, that thing is good, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you can use it's a usable Wi-Fi connection or if it's a usable device in any way. So that's also it's hard to say how far devices come. I would uh, to say how far the OnePlus 3 port is. It's usable as a tablet, a Wi-Fi tablet, but not more than that.
But that's not a phone.
That's not a phone. You can call with it, but you can't hear anyone because there's no sound.
Yeah, and to answer the question a little bit better for the 5X, it's usable as a paperweight.
Well, it boots,
No,
but
no, it doesn't. This is it. This
mine
is Ubuntu
boots.
Touch for the Nexus 5X.
Mine boots. Let's end it at that.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's all my fault.
so the architecture on the upper one is different from the up OnePlus 3. Yes, it is very different. There's a lot. Even though it uses the same manufacturer, which is Qualcomm, a lot has changed.
Mhm.
There's
Even in
there's
two
not.
devices, here's another fun porting fact. Even if two devices are the exact same inside, they will never work on the same port.
Yeah, like the American version usually doesn't. It usually have some problems when you try to use that on a global version because America is special, apparently. See,
America is special. That is
so
right.
that also makes it a lot harder for us to make a unified port. You see this a lot in the Lineage community where you have two version. You usually have one Verizon version and you have one everyone else. So that same thing does reflect on Helium, but hopefully, hopefully, Librem 5 can be
What we
more
need,
of
yeah.
a game changer and a game pusher and try to get the OEM to be more unified. I think that's all like that's why I also like Project Treble so much because it tries to unify this, but it still doesn't solve the problem where where we can have one one image fits all, like on desktop. This is something we're really trying to get to where we can run one ISO that runs on everything. It runs on desktop, it runs on mobile, and it runs on your Raspberry Pi. That's an example. This is something that's super cool if you can get to a state where you can just install the same rootfs and it just works. But at this moment, it's incredibly hard with the Android stuff. It's purely because how the Android ecosystem or the manufacturer how they make him.
Mhm.
The biggest. Yep, go.
Kind of where I was trying to go with that was we see a lot of questions of, well, this phone is the same as the OnePlus One. Can it work on that? And the answer is no, because of the way that Android is built to be on one device. And that is
Yep.
how the build tree works. Um, and to go back to your point of one ISO to run everywhere, we've already realized that that is impossible as long as we have to do the Android config, or at least very difficult, because our Android configuration that runs the Android container and starts up sensors and fun things like that kind of breaks everything else, or it just doesn't finish boot. So, um, ideally, the situation we could get to now is you need to remove one package in order to run our rootfs on not Android devices. I don't think that's where we are though.
Technically, it would work, but
If it
there is
worked.
a it, it well it does work on you can run it as it is. The only thing is that since it depends on it waits for the LXC container to start. The only thing that you need to do is remove that, and it should boot on everything else.
Yeah, there are a few other jobs that depend on the Android container, but I guess you wouldn't see those right away, or maybe never if you don't have sensors and GPS.
Yeah, most of the things that depend on the LXC container is not something you need on desktop anyway, or the Raspberry Pi, because it's simply because they depend on Android container. They won't work in a desktop environment anyway because they are not meant to be there. So, for example, give an example for the sensors. If the Qt sensor doesn't start, it will use the desktop one, which is the normal Qt sensors, not the Qt Ubuntu sensors, for example.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. And Qt Ubuntu sensors are built for Android devices, whereas
Yeah,
Qt sensors are okay.
but we want to get away with Qt Ubuntu sensors and bring in the upstream one instead, which is SensorFS. Which, if someone wants to help out with that, that would be nice.
I've never heard of SensorFS, so I will let someone else handle that one.
Okay, it's
Is
what
it kind
says
of
we
like
do.
ConfigFS?
No, not at
Good.
all.
Oh, he's gone. Um.
I'm gone.
Oh, he's
I'm
back.
not gone. I'm not gone. I'm Marius. Get it? Bad dad joke. Bad, 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 bad. That's. I'm not even a dad. Okay.
This is going well. Oh, he's gone. Yes, this is going very well. Turn off your camera for a bit. Let's see if that'll fix it.
No, it won't.
Oh, okay.
Okay. How's Unity 8 desktop coming along? On Xenial, it is coming along pretty nicely. You can install it and everything. On Bionic, as we said before, we still have some problem with the Mesa L patches or EGL, Mirror EGL patches. We do plan to find an issue, or not find an issue, but find a solution for the issue. But right now, there has been so quick doing things that going on in upstream since they removed the Mesa patches from the Ubuntu archive. We can't do anything else than compile it ourselves, which is probably what we will do to make it work as
This
a
isn't a
temporary
good
solution.
idea.
But right now it's broken.
It's broken.
It's broken.
Unless you're on Xennial. That's not broken.
Unless that's not, yeah.
Someone says we need better internet connections to Marius. Donate now. He's just in a bad situation. It doesn't get any better for him.
If I
It
I
just
would
doesn't.
like build in cable fiber. That would be nice. That would be nice.
Don't you have wireless?
I do. I have wireless. It's called air fiber, and that's why the connection is still good and the speed is good, but it's the wind. The wind. It blows a little bit, and the signals is bang, 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 and yeah,
And it's gone.
and it's gone.
Yep. So every time that you can tell how windy it is in Norway by how well these go for Marius.
Basically, yeah.
Oh, I didn't. This one will be interesting. Okay. Okay. We'll make this a
Okay.
meme. Okay. It's kind of a redo of last week about scopes.
Oh no.
Yeah, I know. So this has been a discussion since last time about how we're going to handle the removal of scopes from later versions of 1604 into 1804 or whatever our next release is. Maybe we'll base it on Arch. That was a joke. Don't take it seriously. Um. So The scope problem. Let's call it that. That'll be our title. I'm gonna type that down. So
Scope
someone
problem.
remember that, okay? The scope problem is scopes were originally
Dead.
just dead. Yeah, thanks. They were originally a way to handle being able to search multiple providers from the home screen in Ubuntu. And that's kind of where lenses came from in Unity 7. So they were kind of building on top of Unity 7's lenses into a more fleshed out idea. What they became is mini apps. So, like, the music scope shows the exact same things as the music app, but there's really no reason why you'd want to use the music scope when the music app has more features. The video scope shows the same videos as the video app. It's just, and that's kind of the story for the whole thing. Just one moment, sorry.
Oh, let me continue this. So yeah, scopes are not really used by anyone also, and also I heard from a lot of app developers that it's not a good experience to both develop and use scopes. And on top of that, scopes is not really user friendly in one way, because it's easier to tap a button to open an application than swiping. Oh, there's the right scope. Swipe more, swipe more. That's the right scope. But then you have to swipe all the way back to get to the apps. But
Or
then
swipe from the left. Wait, does that work?
Oh,
Yeah,
I
okay.
don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then you have to go you have so many scopes that you want to use the YouTube scopes, but the YouTube, it starts with a Y, so that's in the end of the scope spectrum. So then you have to scroll, and that's not a good user experience. It's a lot more user, a lot better user experience, especially since they probably come from an Android or iOS background, where you have the simple app, click, open, it works, stream. While the lenses or not the lenses, but the scopes would be good to have a more widget type of system where you have widget that you can put in, like a weather widget or clock widget or something like that. That would be a lot better approach on this, more or less how Android does it. But we have to keep in mind with Converge, and the idea that I see a lot of people come along with is that you have a widget system where on desktop they just spread out, on the phone they just get into a phone mode, and where the widget itself are scalable. So on a desktop, the widget itself gets bigger and you get more information, for example, about weather, but on a phone
You
it goes down.
know, live chat is right. This does sound like plasmoids in KDE Plasma.
What? Am I back? Okay. My internet connection
Sorry,
is windy.
yes. And someone just walked into the room. Sorry about that. Dead air.
Yeah. Sorry about today.
Sorry about
Today.
this entire thing.
Yeah, this today.
Maybe that should be the title. We're sorry.
Both me and Dalton haven't slept tonight, so both of us are incredibly tired.
And no one was available.
And no one else was available else than us two. So I'm sorry if this has been all over the place this time. But it has been a sleepless night and we are tired, but we are still doing this for you guys because we love
That's
you.
how committed we are.
That's how
If
committed we
we
are.
aren't doing good, we will try.
Even if we are broken legs and broken rib bones, we will still do the Q&A for you guys.
I don't think I would still do the Q&A in that case.
I would do it
Anyway,
at a
scopes.
Hospital have better Wi-Fi than me, so I can do it at the hospital. That's true. The hospital has pretty good damn internet here, but that's about. Um, okay. Priorism question mark?
Oh, we're finished with scopes now?
Yeah, I think we got the scopes. I think also what I said last time is also if someone has scopes ideas, if someone has a way where we can implement scopes in a better way, refactor them or completely rewrite them, or if they have design mockups, or if you are a designer that wants to help out with it, please, 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 please come in and help us do this. Because I can't even draw a stick man. So we definitely need someone with knowledge on that area.
So, okay, here's the real question. What about democracy? Is there any chance of keeping them? There is a chance of keeping scopes if someone comes in to maintain the whole lot, basically. Because the team is made up mostly of volunteers, and we are just trying to make this work right now. So we really, as Marius was saying, need help in this case. And scopes are so integrated into Unity 8 that it's just they're kind of a problem.
Yeah.
Especially Flow is having trouble with one service of Unity 8 in particular called Smart Scopes Proxy, which is trying to connect to canonical servers because it grabbed data for the scopes. And it tries to do this like every 10 seconds, and that server isn't there anymore, but we can't remove it because everything stops working.
Yeah, everything depend on that, and that depend on that, and that depend. It's a dependency issue there. But those issues hopefully will be solved, and hopefully we can RM-RF scopes at some point.
Because and while I understand that some people really, really like them, I don't see enough of a demand for them from any part of the community. Um, Especially anyone who would make a scope or maintain the scopes that already exist, who actually wants to keep them. And that's kind of the
Yep.
crux of the issue, is people love them, and that's a good thing because it means that it's a feature that Canonical did well on. But if no one wants to make them, then there's nothing to like.
Yep.
So between the developer story, the user experience story, and just the backend story, all these three things together add up to we cannot keep these around. Even if we had one person on staff full time, it would probably still be too much work for them.
Yep.
One person who only worked on scopes and that development paradigm.
Yep. Okay, let's
So
move over to
that's scopes.
that scopes. Yeah, I think we beat the dead horse of the scopes at this point. So let's move on. Is KDE really usable on phones yet? Um,
where did that come from? Oh, KDE. Oh, like Plasma Mobile?
Probably. It's not really fit in this Q&A, but I will answer it anyway. No. I think the answer is for that.
Yeah, they're getting
Uh,
there.
they're getting there, but it's more or less a tablet because it doesn't have, you can't call with it. It doesn't have camera and all sort of things that still work in progress. So KDE Plasma is in very much work in progress. Um, have you talked with Purism? Are there any interest in UBports? Uh, there is conversation going on. Of course, we would like to support the Librem 5 at some point. But as it is now, there is no there's no really work being done there on the software side. So but we will really expect the UBports to support that phone. It wouldn't require much customization for us or work for us to support that, since we already the Librem 5 says that we'll support standard Linux desktop type of drivers, etc., etc., and that already we support with the Unity 8 desktop. So I don't expect there to be much issue for us to run on that. But it's still very much work in progress. So I think at this stage they are focusing on hardware, because you can't install something that you don't can have something to
You
install
can't
on.
install software on nothing.
Exactly.
There's a
So
quote.
there's a quote. So basically that's what's going on. It's mostly waiting for hardware. I think that's what both Purism and KD are doing also. I see that there is a lot of trying to get KD working,
Hmm.
um, but it's still not the hardware that they want to run on, because they want to run on the MX8, but they only have MX6 development boards. So
Hmm. Yep, that's the newest blog post from the 13th. From Tuesday, they were on the MX6 board yet. So,
yeah,
if you want to watch that progress, that would be Purism's news site. Um, and I guess our blog, if anything comes out of that from us. So,
yep. Okay, since there's not really more questions here,
oh, let's see what we have.
I will actually, I will take a community question. I will take an interesting one now at the end.
Okay.
Um, what kind of distro do you use, and what desktop environment do you use?
I thought you were going to
I'm
do
not.
the tree one, and I was going to quit.
Oh, oh no.
Could have
So,
stopped this.
so this is a question for everyone. Please leave it in the super chat, super group. You can you can tell I'm tired. In the super group or in the YouTube live chat, what kind of distro you have, or what desktop environment you use. And let's start with Dalton. What do you use?
Bus me. I, I use Solus Budgie. Solus
And
is great. Please don't hurt me. I love it.
um, everyone make fun of Dalton for using Solus. No, Solus is a great operating system. I would use that if it wasn't for missing apt. I'm too in love with my software, and apt. I love apt. So I actually switched today. And I did a bit of a unusual switch for me, because I actually switched from standard Ubuntu till elementary, with Pantheon, and so far I absolutely love elementary. If it was Qt, I would love it even more, but it's still GTK. But Qt, please love me. Okay, so let's read some of the things that the community says here. Um, Dalton uses Solus. Indeed, he does. Mint,
That is right.
Mint, Mint Mate. Interesting. Uh, Arch with Savvy.
S- s-
Oh,
sway.
Sway. Yeah, well, he's a savage for using that, because I can't use that.
No,
I
Sway is the new i3. It's the one with Wayland support.
yeah, I know, but I can't wrap around the keyboard shortcut and everything. I would be lost with nothing on the screen. I would be at the point where I can't open terminal anymore and I can't reboot. So that's me. Ubuntu 16.04. That's good. Antergos.
I did
Um,
use Antergos for a bit. I
is that still alive?
Yeah, it's well because I was too much of a noob to actually install Arch. I I did like it. I liked that.
I did play along with Arch before I become really into Ubuntu. But one of the biggest thing that why I switched to Ubuntu is because it worked. I didn't need to fix my system all the time. But then I was using pure Arch, and that might be the problem. Um, Arch with awesome as VM. Ooh, awesome.
Awesome.
I don't
Awesome is
know.
another tiling? No, it's not tiling. I've
I
used it before. What the heck, Dalton?
I don't know anymore. I don't know what that is. Um. Uh. Uh. uh
I use
Ubuntu.
Windows 95. Good job. Good. How'd you get Google Chrome on that?
Tumbleweed. That's
SUSE. Yeah.
OpenSUSE with Plasma. That's an interesting one. Ubuntu Mate. Oh, ah, my love for Mitchell Windpress. Love Windpress and his work on Ubuntu Mate.
Someone clip
Um,
that, please. I know you can't do that on YouTube, but
yeah, I use Ubuntu Mate on my go-to laptop, and I use Ubuntu Mate on my Pinebook. Ubuntu Budgie. It was actually between Ubuntu Budgie and Elementary when I switched today. Since I
you're
haven't
just
switched in
looking at
like
things to switch to after this, aren't you? Just in case.
yes, okay, yeah, I'm
That's
looking at
what you're doing. I
yes,
understand.
Hackintosh. Ooh,
Ooh. I tried
ooh.
that. That's a
I
lot of
have
work.
Hackintosh on. I have Hackintosh on a VM. It's interesting to spawn up Wireshark and just follow the things that got out of in of there. There's a lot of shady things that install on the Hackintosh. So be aware that you have a pure Hackintosh, and you also have Ubuntu 16.04. I would recommend using Ubuntu 16.04 a little bit more. Maybe your user data is a bit more secure. I don't know. I don't trust downloading Hackintosh from one random forum and installing that as your daily driver. It's a bit shady sometimes. But that's just me. Waiting for Union for Elementary. Upgrade to install. If you don't have Elementary, try it out. It's really nice. I really like it. Check your DM. That's an interesting.
What was that?
Check your PM. That's an interesting OS. Yeah, I will check my PM. React OS. Is that hmm, React
Ubuntu
OS?
Budgie, Ubuntu Unity 7, Debian XFCE. Okay. All
Um,
right.
Ubuntu Budgie.
So I don't understand what the purpose of this was, Marius, but good job getting the live chat involved.
Yeah, that was the most thing. Also, Debian with XFCE4. That's a
I
nice
just
one.
said that.
Oh, you did. Oh,
You're too
okay.
busy checking your PMs.
React OS is basically a rewritten Windows NT.
Yeah.
Why would anyone do that?
Because it's open source Windows.
Unix master race. Why would anyone spend time doing that? Okay, let's not
Because
rant.
it's good. It's good. It's open source Windows.
It's good,
It's
and he
good in
says it
theory.
sucks. He
It's
say it sucks.
it's good in theory.
It's good in theory. Yeah, it's nice that it would be open source, but I think it would be better to just pressure Windows or Microsoft to open source it. They
Well,
love
that's
open
never
source.
happening.
They love open source after all.
No, they love Linux.
Okay, they love no, they actually have I have a sticker that says I heart open source that I got at UbiCon, the first
From
UbiCon. So they
Microsoft.
love from Microsoft, yeah.
People use React OS for industrial applications which used to run on XP. I told you it's got a good use. Because
Okay.
Windows XP isn't supported anymore, but React OS is. And it also supports the same Win32. Like, why are we talking about Windows?
Okay, let's uh let's wrap this up for now. This has been an interesting, as I said before. Sorry for the all over the place Q&A, because we both are incredibly tired, and it's only us two that can join. So But
It's been
else than
very
that,
quiet in here.
it's been quiet, but it has been good. Let's end it at that.
Yeah.
And
Thank you everyone for watching. This has been episode 25 of the Ubuntu Touch Q&A. You can find us on all sorts of social media websites. If I could bring up the list, that would be nice. Stall. Okay. We've got a Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google+, Mastodon, Diaspora. We're also on Matrix and Telegram. We have a mailing list. You can find that at UBports. Oh, that's the
list.
the news list is
Ah.
ubports.com/subscribe. I need to check that. It might be /page/subscribe. I'm sorry. This is going well. ubports.com/page/subscribe. Or if you want to get in touch with us via a more traditional mailing list, we're at list.ubports.com. This has been an experience. Certainly a learning one.
Yep.
Thank you everyone for watching. Have I missed anything?
I think it's just safe to say that don't Q&A while you are sleepy.
Try again next time.
Yeah.
So we will see you all in 2 weeks, 1900 UTC on Saturday. That'll all be posted in our forum in the Telegram groups. And thank you for suffering along with us. You all have a great fortnight.
And have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.